You know what I wish was in the tech news today? Some kind of technology that can make your hair not look ridiculous and put your colleagues in stitches through that window that you can definitely... You know, your hair's not so great either, Pella. Last week, the USBIF, the organization that oversees USB standards, announced in a phenomenally stupid renaming scheme for existing USB specifications and designated the latest 20 gigabit per second capable version as USB 3.2 Gen 2x2. Well, if you're on the bleeding edge of data transferring connections, you might not have to worry about that very much because Intel has just given the specification for Thunderbolt 3, which is capable of 40 gigabits per second, to the USBIF, who will then use it to form the basis of USB 4. This means that essentially USB 4 will encompass the protocols for USB 3.2 Gen 2x2, so stupid, and Thunderbolt 3, meaning that device makers won't have to determine whether or not to include Thunderbolt controllers in their products. This means that upcoming devices will have USB Type-C ports that are capable of everything that USB and Thunderbolt ports are capable of. So like charging, display output, data transfer at up to 40 gigabit per second. But the USBIF couldn't just leave it at that. All good news. They had to screw it up. They screwed up the name. USB 4 doesn't have a space in it. It's just USB 4. For what? For who?
It's mostly good.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
Someone's got to have a look at their heads. Speaking of heads, you know, this past console generation has really been an eye-opener, and your eyes are on your head, that's where I was going with that. For Microsoft, they learned a lot of things, like how bad Sony could destroy them in PS4 versus Xbox sales. So during a press event at their headquarters in Washington, the company laid out a vision that involves giving gamers access to games on every platform. Now, we already talked last week about their plans to reportedly bring Xbox Game Pass to the Nintendo Switch. But at the event, Xbox boss Phil Spencer said that Xbox wants to bring Game Pass to any device that somebody wants to play on. I mean, even the PlayStation 4, Phil? Have you gone mad? Now, as unlikely as Sony would be to agree to such an arrangement, it looks like Microsoft would be open to the idea. So we'll hopefully get more news about the company's plan at GDC 2019, where they're expected to talk about their multi-platform plans and Project xCloud game streaming. And then maybe even some new Xboxes, if maybe you'd like to buy one of those instead of a PS5, like whatever.
Yeah, it's fine though.
It's all about choice.
Yeah.
And Anthem, the looter shooter from EA and BioWare, launched to a decidedly more subdued level of hype than its publishers anticipated. The developers have been working hard to incorporate community feedback, but it's now become much harder for players to appreciate any changes being made because their consoles are being bricked by the game. PlayStation 4 players are reporting that the game will sometimes crash back to the console's home screen and even turn it off. Some players have even reported being unable to reboot their machines after a crash. So it's just the latest setback for the game, but maybe if they didn't want such a rocky launch, they shouldn't have tried to jam a classic BioWare-esque narrative-focused game and a multiplayer grindy looter shooter into the same cartridge. It was never gonna fit in there, EA. It's just physics. Also, who uses cartridges anymore? Who wrote this thing? Now it's time for the back quacks, brought to you by the Marlin screwdriver set from iFixit. Each fixed blade screwdriver features an ergonomic, knurled rubberized handle with a swivel top plus a black oxide coated tip so that it hangs onto tiny screws with a steel grip. Pretty much everyone here at Linus Media Group uses an iFixit kit when they need to repair something, so you can trust us when we say that you can trust them. iFixit's Marlin screwdrivers are manufactured in Germany and backed by iFixit's lifetime warranty. So get yours for $24.99 at iFixit.com/Linus or at the link below. On to the buck quacks. Project Zero, Google's initiative to hold developers accountable for fixing security issues in their software, has publicly disclosed a high-severity flaw in the Mac OS kernel. The vulnerability could allow hackers full control over a Mac while avoiding detection. Now, as they usually do, Project Zero actually gave Apple 90 days to fix the bug, but they didn't. with that said, 90 days is not like a lot of time. Apple, they had stuff to do, like like the lattes, making.
Takes a long time. You gotta
Yeah.
strain the milk.
And then once you're done, to drink it, it's hot. You know, you gotta wait a while.
You gotta wait.
NVIDIA's GTX 1660 Ti is out, and we've heard about a possible non-Ti 1660 and a 1650. But then Dell just ruined the whole rumor mill because they spilled the beans on the existence of an RTX 2050 on the specs page for their G5 15 gaming laptop. So that's exciting news for gamers who need glorious rays at 480p, I suppose. Last week, we saw some developers install Android on a Nintendo Switch, and now others have managed to install the ARM-compatible version of Windows 10. They apparently even managed to summon a blue screen of death, but that shouldn't be any real surprise. Just means,
feel at home.
yeah, they're having the full Windows experience.
There it is.
Now it's time for an update on MIT's future robot-killing machines. The Institute's adorable mini Cheetah robot can now do a backflip. It can also stand up to gentle kicks and even land softly on its feet from a fall. It's heartwarming and encouraging for the future of the robot race. Not so much for humans, though. And SpaceX successfully docked their Crew Dragon spacecraft with the International Space Station yesterday. Despite the name, there were no actual crew members on board, and in fact, no dragons. The flight was just a test undertaken before SpaceX's first manned mission using the Dragon later on this year. I believe that's when Elon Musk is planning to move to the ISS permanently to avoid having his tweets regulated.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, that would make sense.
And now, we've got to know, wait! There's one more important piece of news. Can I get some sad music? Yeah, thank you. Okay. So, a little over a year ago, we did a review of what I thought really was going to be the first true robot companion for humans. I'm just kidding. Everything about the idea was terrible, and the execution was just as bad. But Gebo, I'm afraid, is no longer with us as of today. Gebos themselves have been informing their owners that the servers that run the Gebo service are being shut down, and so I want us all, actually, to take a moment and remember Gebo. Gebo.
Oh, Gebo.
You were terrible. Speaking of terrible, I have some terrible news. More terrible news. It's the end of Techlinked. But just for today. Come back Wednesday, there'll be more.
That was scary.